All right, people. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on, ballers? All right, this is Beyond the Ball. I'm Jonathan Jones, and the whole purpose of our platform is to help student athletes succeed beyond their degree. All right, you're in for a great show today. We got some topics, we got a lot of stuff happening around collegiate athletics and even beyond. So I just want you to know that we're going to hit on some things that's happening up in Colorado with Coach Prime and some of those guys, and then we're even going to take it across country. We're going to go to Chicago, and then see what some of these WNBA players are up to. Angel Reese, and then we got to talk a little bit about the Kelsey brothers. So let's go ahead and dive in. All right, so this is Beyond the Ball. Like I said, I'm Jonathan Jones, and this is a Speak Your Success Media production. Okay, so if you're not connected and you're not following us on our channels, be sure to type in Speak Your Success Media on YouTube and make sure to smash that subscribe button. All right. So now I want to go ahead and dive in, and I'm really excited for today's content. Because as of late, we know that anytime you say anything about Colorado, anytime anybody says anything about Coach Prime, for one, it ruffles a lot of feathers. Will we agree? Anytime anybody talks about Colorado football, either you're on one side or the other. You love it. You're like, yeah, I love what Coach Prime is doing up there at Colorado. Or you're like, I don't like it. I don't agree with it. I don't like Coach Prime. But let me kick this thing off the right way. Okay. And first things first, Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, he called out about 7 of his guys this past week. He called them out by name. He said, whoop, 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 whoop. And then after that, he said, y'all didn't do nothing wrong. And he called him to sit to the front of he called him to sit into the front of the room. Okay. And I was like, what's he about to do? Why is he calling these guys to the front of the room? Like, what's Coach Prime about to do right now? And then after he did that, and then you're gonna love this part. You're gonna love this part. Then he said, who else has something on the way? Anybody else has something on the way? And what he was talking about was he was talking about a baby. He was trying to see if any other guys had a baby on the way. And I was like, what's about to happen with this? Then another guy came down, they started clapping for him. I said, this is dope. Okay, let me see where this goes, right? Let me see where this goes. And then the next thing that Coach Prime did, he said, some of y'all might remember, but I was looking for a partnership with a local bank. Okay. And I was like, what's he about to say right here? Y'all, then he proceeded to do this right here. I want to share my screen because I want y'all to see this. Then coach, this is what Coach Prime did, because this the type of guy that he is. Look, then Deion Sanders went ahead and called up the representative from Elevations Credit Union in Colorado to let them know that 8 of these players with kids, they're going to be provided with bank accounts. Come on, somebody. Drop something in the comments if you a fan of Coach Prime. Because then he proceeded to say, fatherhood is an opportunity. It's not a mistake. It's an opportunity. I said, I like this, Coach Prime, because y'all know I'm a new father, right? My boy about to be 2 years old in just like 6 months or so, but we're not rushing him. But then he wanted them. Then he went on to say, look, just like I said, y'all ain't in trouble. Y'all ain't done nothing wrong. As a matter of fact, you did something right, because a child is not a mistake. A child is an opportunity to mature you, to grow you, to advance you, and to give you some skills. Y'all know how I am about fathering, he said. And he went on to go a little bit deeper. This is when it gets real good. He says, because I wouldn't hire a coach unless he's a good father. I don't hire a coach that's a deadbeat. I don't hire a coach that's not taking care of his responsibilities. I would never hire a man. I would never hire a man I would never hire a man that's not gonna look after y'all, and he won't look after his. That that don't make sense. Hold on, y'all. My dad sent me a message. I gotta let my dad know I'm live right now, Dad. Dad, I'm live right now. I'm doing a different live stream right now, but the link I sent you is for that podcast training that's tonight. Just FYI. Right. Then he went on to say this. A- After affirming the players, right? This is in Yahoo Sports. Alongside of the school's name, image, and likeness, NIL Collective 5430 Alliance, shout out to them. Shout out to my guy Reginald Calhoun, and all of the other parts of the 5430 Alliance in Colorado. And they've been working on something special in partnering with the bank, right? When he allowed them to open up their accounts, it's starting out each one with $2,121 in each one, in true Coach Prime fashion, right? So, man, can we just show Coach Prime a little bit of love in the chat, in the comments? Just show a little love. Like, just put a little respect on it, because that's something that happened this past week. Okay. He partnered with the bank, right? He partnered with the bank. And that bank, like I said, is Elevations Credit Union, Coach Prime, Colorado Football, and the 5430 Alliance, their collective, partner with the Elevations Credit Union to provide 8 student athletes who have children with accounts starting them out with $2,121. Come on, y'all. You got to show some love in the comments for that. So that's first up. That's first up. Then the next thing I want to break down, we still in Colorado. Y'all remember these shoes? Does anybody remember these shoes? Right? Do you remember these right here? Right? The diamond turf. You remember these, right? Or maybe you don't remember those, but maybe you remember these right here. Yeah. You got to remember these. These DT Max 96 is the black with the white. Okay? You got, everybody wanted a pair of these. Okay? I wanted a pair of these. Right? But let's go a little bit further. What about these? The cleats. The cleats. The cleats. Come on, y'all. Don't forget about the cleats. The cleats. We cannot forget about these, right? Show some love in the comments if you remember these right here. If you remember these, let me know. So the reason why I want to bring this to the forefront is like father, like son. Just keep that thought in your mind. Like father, like son. John, what you mean like father, like son? Well, Shedeur was on his podcast just the other day, right? The Diamond Turfs 93. And the podcast, which releases the third, it releases every man, I just had a blank. It's every Wednesday, every Thursday. I'm just had a blank. But y'all, look at the Sanders family. Look at the Sanders family. That's a beautiful photo. Okay? That's a beautiful photo. Then even just listen to what Coach Prime said. Coach Prime said this. He said, "This pick is too hard for a hater to even hate. Lord, please allow their hearts not to be troubled, for them to see the unity of a father and his sons. In Jesus' name." I love that photo. That is a cold photo, y'all. That's a cold. You gotta respect that photo. You just gotta respect that photo. But the reason why I'm bringing all this up, like father, like son, look, you see Dion Jr., you see Shedeur, you see Shiloh, and you see Coach Prime, right? But the reason why I want to bring all this up to the forefront is because Shedeur was on his podcast just the other day. Actually, I'm gonna play the clip. I'm going to play the clip for you because I don't want to. I don't want to cut nothing out of this. So I'm gonna play the clip for y'all. I'm gonna play the clip. This is his podcast entitled "Too Legendary" with Shedeur Sanders, and he is being interviewed, or he's having a conversation with his brother. And his brother is asking him some questions about his legacy and where does he want to be and different things like that. So I'm gonna roll the clip for y'all.
Legendary DC 96, and I think it's the 93. Just different variations. Would you want to build on that cleat, or when you get there, would you want to make your own cleat? Or do you...
So look, real quick. So he's asking his brother, okay, so you know dad's made some really iconic shoes, right? He just broke down the two shoes I just showed you all earlier. And he's saying, would you want to have your own cleat when you get the opportunity? You want to have your own cleat, or would you want to build on what our dad has already done? Let's see what he says.
Do you want to just keep the legacy going and like do different variations or change up the style of his cleat?
I would want to build on it. I want to build on it.
You want to build on it?
Yeah. Have like a different version, but I think concept, because I feel like it's more like now, like just looking at life and looking at everything, it's more about like, you know, generational. It's more.
Okay, so let's take a pause. Okay, so he's saying that he would want to keep like the same cleat because there's legacy there, right? This is something that my father has built, but I wanna add on to that, right? Because he said his dad set a solid foundation, and then he would want to continue to build, continue to grow. Let's see what else he had to say, just in regards to this.
More about what could be passed down year after year after year after year after year, rather than everybody starting up they whole new wave and whole new, because there's no real substance behind it.
Okay, so he feels that other people want to do their own thing. There's no substance. Okay, I feel you what you're saying, Shedeur. Let's see if he has something else to say about it.
You know, everything that's great has to have a story behind it. Every great player has to have a story behind it. So I feel like when it comes to design or anything like that, like it always has to have a great story behind it.
All right, gotta have a great story behind it. Shout out to Shedeur, and shout out to Deion Sanders Jr. with the two legendary podcasts with Shedeur Sanders, which is powered by Overtime Elite. So that's gonna take us into our next clip. That's gonna take us into our next topic that I want to break down. So Shedeur has started this podcast. It's probably been like around a month at this point in time, maybe a little bit longer than that. But the crazy thing is, right? I've said it before and I'm gonna say it again. Athletes will own media, right? Athletes are owning their own media. Athletes want to have the space to where they can control their own narrative. They can tell the story. They're cutting out the middleman. Okay, cutting out the middleman, cutting out the middlewoman, cutting reporters out the way. Why? Because they don't want people to twist their words. They don't want the stories to be convoluted or confusing. No, they're going to say, this is what the story is, and I'm giving it directly to you from me to consumer, cutting everybody out the way. And the reason why this is so relevant, and this is why I said it in 2021, y'all, I've been in the trenches talking with collegiate administrators, talking with coaches, talking with players, talking with athletes, talking with parents and everybody in between. The reason why I say this, and this is why it's so very important, when you begin to cut out the middlemen, now you're in a spot to where you can create relationship with the consumer, the fan, whoever it might be. They feel connected to you because there's nobody in the middle that's playing gatekeeper. Okay. So as we stay consistent with that focus right there, yeah, I want to break down the next clip we're gonna be talking about right here, the next topic. So Shedeur has a podcast with Overtime Elite. Okay, cool. But also his teammate, Travis Hunter, now also has a podcast with Overtime Elite. He just dropped this week. Why is this relevant? This is relevant because last year he was with Bleacher Report, but now he's with Overtime Elite. And Overtime Elite is beginning to stack talent. Y'all, they're stacking talent. John, are you sure they're stacking talent? I'm 100% sure they're stacking talent. Here's why. So they have Travis Hunter, who now is the host of the Travis Hunter Show. They also have Captain Jack's podcast. His name is Ian Jackson. He is a player for University of North Carolina. That's also somebody hosting a podcast powered by Overtime Elite. John, who else do they have on their roster? They also have Flage. Flage is the host of Best of Both Worlds. Overtime Elite is stacking talent in their stable in the podcast space. But John, are they the only ones doing it? No, they're not. No, they're not. Well, John, who else? Who else is stacking up podcast talent? And y'all, mind you, these are all athletes. These are current athletes. These are current collegiate athletes. Let me put them back up on the screen. Flage currently is still hooping at LSU. Ian Jackson just got to UNC. And Travis Hunter, been at Colorado. This is his senior season, getting ready to go into the NFL. Shedeur, getting ready to go into the NFL. Y'all, this is very relevant. Like I said, athletes will own media. They own it already. This is a sense of urgency for those collegiate administrators who desire to really help these student athletes. I know you made a promise to the parents. Coaches, I know you made a promise to parents. Said, hey, y'all, I'm gonna get off that. Look, I'm gonna stay focused. I'm gonna stay on topic. So you say, John, well, what other athletes are currently hosting these podcasts? John, what other athletes are doing this? Well, these are two retired athletes, but still, we got the OGs with Mike Miller and Udonis Haslam. What camp are they in? They're in the playmaker camp. John, who's in the playmaker camp? Who else they got over there? Well, I'm glad you asked. Now we're going to talk about some current athletes. You got the Roommate Show with Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart. They are currently playing for the New York Knicks. Currently. Like their season just ended. Okay? They're currently playing for the New York Knicks. And who else? You say, well, John, who else is currently an athlete that is also hosting their own podcast? Well, okay, so I already listed off them. You also have LeBron James. You also have Mookie Betts, Major League Baseball. We also have Travis Kelce. We got Draymond Green. These are active athletes who are hosting their own podcast. Y'all, this past season, Draymond would compete. And then after he played a game, he's doing post-game interviews and post-game press conference stuff, giving his thoughts, his opinions, his beliefs, his narrative from his point of view on his podcast. Tell me that's not crazy. Come on, somebody. If you're feeling what I'm saying and you're really getting value from the episode right now, go ahead and make sure to smash that subscribe button. If you're streaming with us live on YouTube, smash that subscribe button. If you're catching a replay, just comment replay down in the chat. If you're hearing the audio episode, go ahead and subscribe to the platform. Come on over to YouTube and check us out. Video in real time. All right. So y'all, now you're like, John, well, why are you showing me this? So I showed y'all Overtime Elite in their stable, right? Who they have: Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, also, Mike Miller and Udonis Haslam, who both have retired within the past 5 years. So now, why is it so relevant? Well, I wanna let somebody else into the chat. Okay. I want to let somebody else into the chat. But we're gonna go ahead and let Angel Reese into the chat. I told y'all we're gonna take a second and holler at the Bayou Barbie. So let's see what she's talking about. She said she got a major announcement. So let's tap in and see what she got for us.
Hey y'all, so I'm super excited to be announcing my podcast, Unapologetically Angel. I'm looking forward to this so much. Y'all gonna see y'all favorite celebrities, actors, artists, anybody that y'all want to see. We gonna be.
What'd she say? Angel Reese coming with the podcast? She coming with the podcast? Is that what she just said? Let's hear what else she got to say.
Tea from our voice, our narrative, our perspective. Before the blogs, but y'all think y'all clocking tea, y'all not clocking no tea, because we gonna spill the tea on our real lives. Period.
On period. She said she's gonna spill the tea from her own perspective, from her own life, her narrative. Let's let her finish. What else you got to say, Angel?
Make sure y'all follow on all my social media platforms, Unapologetically Show, on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all that. Make sure y'all follow to stay up to date. Every Thursday we drop it. We drop a tea. We drop a tea every Thursday.
Okay. She dropping tea every Thursday. So Angel Reese now is joining the Playmakers camp. She's joining the Playmakers camp under who? Shaq Diesel. Okay. We know he was one of the top 10 greatest players of all time. Some might say top 5. Some might say number 1. Hey, but they keeping LSU. They keeping family. All right. And Angel went on to say, she went on to say, look, it's another way for me to connect with my fans, reach new audiences that I wouldn't necessarily have been able to reach before. Come on. She got that wisdom. This is what she went ahead and told Complex. And then she also said exclusively about her decision to jump in the podcasting world. I can't wait to share a different side with listeners and have them come on this ride with me. Okay. She keeping it LSU Tiger fam because she's joining Shaquille O'Neal's The Big Podcast Network, which is a part of the Playmakers headquarters. Y'all, they stacking up. Here's what she said. She said, I mainly want to do this podcast to be a place to where I can have authentic and unfiltered conversations. She said, this is the WNBA's leading rebounder. She said, whether I'm sharing insights on basketball, current trends in fashion, or the latest news in entertainment. So shout out to Angel Reese. Shout out to her getting ready to launch this podcast September 5th. So she hasn't even dropped it just yet. But on her Twitter page, as she's been dropping this different content, one thing that I noticed is that her page, it was on Twitter, on Instagram. They already have gotten around 6,000 followers on that page. Not even dropping yet, but she's just been putting out little content. And I'll just share with y'all a little bit of what that content looks like. So she also went ahead and said, this is what you can expect.
Hey y'all, so I'm super excited to be announced about.
Okay, wait, we already dropped that video. Run that back. She also went ahead and said this.
Welcome back to Unapologetically Me.
What is the craziest rumor you've ever heard about Angel?
We got one.
Ooh, y'all, they bringing it spicy. What's the craziest rumor? Because she is also going to have a co-host, right? It's not just her. It's going to be Maya Reese. No relation, but that's her co-host. Let's finish the video.
Chicago's hottest. And I was like, oh my God, I'm actually an all-star.
Speak it into existence.
2028, we're going to be on the Olympic team.
Boom. Okay, they got her making hot takes and predictions now. Man, it's getting good. Okay, it's getting good. Oh, and then the last part of the clip.
Likely to fall in love. Angel.
So she said it. This is a place for her to be able to spill the tea. And then today, this tweet was live today. She said, Little Miss keeps a bag, makes y'all mad, stays in y'all's bag, never cared about what y'all say about her. Basketball player, model, businesswoman, broadcaster, influencer, actress, etc. Is starting her own podcast, and I'm taking my voice back, clearing all the false narratives. I hope y'all ready. Y'all, hey, it's getting good. If you're excited, let me know something in the comments. Hit that like button or drop a comment if you're excited. And then Kev on stage even co-signed what Angel said. He said, it's amazing to see athletes are being empowered to create their own narrative. Y'all, this is the era that we're in. Athletes have the power and the platform now to create their own narrative, just like our sister Angel Reese did here, going live September 5th, okay? And every Thursday, Unapologetically Angel. Shout out to her. Shout out to her, y'all. So we're going to keep it going. Going to keep it moving. And what else did I have to share with you all today? Well, y'all, we talked about Shedeur, right? We talked about Shedeur and what he was saying about his legacy. And it's just pretty dope that he not only has the podcast, but Shedeur becomes the first college football player to sign an NIL deal with Nike. Come on. The first college player to sign an NIL deal with Nike? That's major. This is going to be an apparel and a footwear deal. And just like he was talking about in the clip with his brother, he was just talking about how he wants to build on what his dad has built. He didn't come out and say, hey, y'all, I just signed an NIL deal with Nike. But by us watching the clip, it kind of leads to it. And then now this comes out today. So it's like, oh, wow. So you dropped on Monday that episode, which is kind of like a bait. It's really smooth. It's great marketing, actually. So shout out to Coach Prime and, the marketing being in the bloodline and a team that they got over there. But then he comes out and then says, hey, I'm signed with Nike. Perfect timing. Man, shout out to Shedeur on that. And then last but not least, y'all, I talked a little bit about the Kelsey brothers. And if you're familiar with the Kelsey brothers, one thing you know about them is these boys done had a podcast. Their podcast is entitled The New Heights Podcast. And I said earlier that they're Well, Travis is an active NFL player coming off a Super Bowl, right? Coming off a Super Bowl, my boy hosting a podcast, but he got another win that he want to share with us. He got another win. So check this out. Check this clip out.
Travis and Jason Kelsey are putting up big numbers in another arena, podcasting. They just signed a big-time deal, a $100 million deal with Amazon's Wondery for their show New Heights and a few other obligations.
$100 million. That's bigger than some people's career earnings playing football, much less being on the mic talking around it, like talking about football and everything like that. So some people speculate and say, well, this is due to Taylor Swift dating Travis Kelsey. That gave him a little boost in his podcast and his audience. And it's in partnership with Amazon and Wondery, right? And they said that there are some other obligations. So let's see what else that includes. Let's check it out, see what else that the deal includes.
Landmark deal includes distribution, advertising, and rights to related merchandise. And the Kelsey brothers' massive reach meant big money from Wondery.
All right. So y'all, what do we take away from today's episode? What are we taking away? What I hope we take away from today's episode is a few things. Okay. One, it's that shout out to a legacy brand. I consider Nike a legacy brand. The Sanders are a legacy brand, right? We've seen the foundation that Deion has laid. And then now Shedeur is coming behind him, and he's the first collegiate athlete to sign an NIL deal with Nike. Come on. That's the NIL deal everybody wants, right? If you heard a couple episodes back when we interviewed Jackson Prince, and he was talking about how to get NIL deals, they're paling in comparison to Nike. Okay, Nike. But go ahead and tap in with that episode if you haven't caught that episode just yet, because we add a lot of value around how student athletes can get NIL deals. But even further than that, we talked about Shedeur and Travis Hunter, as well as Angel Reese, all now having podcasts, because Angel Reese says she wants to have a future in broadcast. So therefore, she's building her experience, building her resume in real time. Not only as one of the best competitors on the floor, but going to now have one of the biggest shows out there. I've gone on record and said it many times before. The opportunity for Black women in podcasting is ginormous. But then we take a step back and talk about Black women who are athletes. Angel Reese is already, I believe, minority owner of a soccer club back home in Maryland. Major move. And now she's about to become a media conglomerate. Major move. And now, following that, she's only furthering her stock, furthering her value, building assets, because media is an asset. So athletes out there, please hear me and hear me good. Build your media company now. Start with the podcast, but don't just spend everything on Instagram. Diversify your content, diversify these media assets, because you have the opportunity to create something that you can pass down, okay? And have the opportunity to be like the Kelsey brother. Look, on one end, Angel, Shedeur, and Travis are starting out podcasting. On the other end, the Kelsey brothers are selling. They're going to get the rights to 3 years. It's a 3-year deal for $100 million, and they're going to get all the backlog episodes. However, the Kelsey brothers, both of them are going to get ready to retire soon. Shedeur, Travis, Angel, and all of you student athletes out there, y'all are just getting started in your career trajectory. So you're going to continue to build influence, impact, and it's going to be crazy income if you play your cards right. And if you're an administrator out there, please, please, please hear me and hear me good. You've made the promises to parents, to student athletes, to young leaders, and you've told them that you have their best interest at heart. However, now is the time to hold good to that promise, right? Now is the time to where if you're serious about really preparing these student athletes for the tools that they need to be successful, I want to partner with you. I want to partner with your team, your administration, your athletic department to help you all get your media and get these student athletes in a place to where they can begin to create these podcasts and they can begin to master their story. They can begin to control their narrative so that they can be set up for success long term. If you're interested in me coming down to your institutions, all I need you to do is send me an email, jonathan@jonathanjonespeaks.com, or send me a DM, Jonathan Jones Speaks on Instagram, because I want to work with you. I want to help you elevate your program and help your student athletes have all the pieces and all the tools that they need to succeed beyond their degree. This is Jonathan Jones. This has been a Beyond the Ball news update, right? But this has been a Speaker Success Media production, all right? So please, please, please tap in, hit that subscribe button, and this is Beyond the Ball, where we help student athletes succeed beyond their degree. Until then, peace. God bless.